Hello, good morning, everyone. This is Mahesh Lingareddy. Thank you so much for attending this event. Thanks, Satya, for pulling this together. I know it's not easy, especially in this COVID era. And also, I'm very honored to be part of this distinguished speaker list. Sorry, I couldn't be there in person due to COVID travel restrictions and the last minute flight cancellations. Nonetheless, I guess life goes on in this post-COVID or COVID era. I want to take this opportunity to, share our experiences, both in terms of opportunities and challenges in building a global brand out of India. We started our journey more than 5 years ago with Smarton. But building a global brand, is a different kind of DNA. You need a different kind of risk appetite, and the patience and the time horizon. It could take 10 years or even longer, and it's quite different from building a services company or a manufacturing company. This requires a lot of conviction, a lot of risk capital. And you have to compete globally. That said, the opportunities are all very exciting or huge. So we felt there is a big opportunity to build India's first global OEM and IoT brand. Because if you look at, the top 100 global brands, there are none from India. One could argue Reliance and Tata's should be part of this list. Maybe they are not known outside India as much, but still, I think our presence is next to nothing in terms of the total global brands today. And if you look at even top 20 technology brands, you'll see most of them from US or Europe. Although lately, quite a few companies from China are creeping into this because they started to really focus on building global brands, moving away from manufacturing focus. So you see Tencent, Baidu, Lenovo, or Xiaomi. Some of these companies starting to show up in the brand list. It's somewhat tied to innovation and R&D, which sort of translate into the number of patents that are getting filed. Again, if you look at that list, China and US are dominating sort of the current patent filing list. We are number 6 right now, 6 or 7. I think we can do better, but that I think is an indication of our own transition towards building products away from pure services. This is my one of my favorite slides, which it's my own slide. So in terms of I always tell that brands or product-driven companies can create disproportionate value and wealth. That's why you see a lot of product-driven companies, technology-driven companies create massive valuations. They generate huge revenues per employee. So if you look at, let's say, TCS or Infosys, they're probably doing about 40,000 or 50,000 US dollars per employee revenue, right? So it's a linear scaling of number of employees they have. Versus if you look at Apple, Google, Microsoft, they generate a revenue that is in the millions of dollars because they invest some risk capital in R&D, develop a product. That product gets out, they can generate a lot of revenues, right? Like iPhone. Of course, there are manufacturing companies like Foxconn. They are better than services, but again, in terms of valuation or revenue per employee, is still not as much. That doesn't mean they are not important. Services, manufacturing are important in terms of job creation and whatnot. But the third leg of the stool, if you will, right, the services, the manufacturing, The third leg is, I think, we need to have a strong product ecosystem and product-driven brands that are globally recognizable. I think that creates, I think, a huge wealth and value. I think that all manifests in itself. If you look at, let's say China versus India, there are tons of companies now recognizable globally. From China, I think we are, starting, I guess, our own journey with Flipkart, Paytm, Ola, Oyo, of course, the good old Reliance and Tatas are also making inroads at the global stage more and more, right? So, but that said, still there is a big gap, between China and India, if you were to just focus on China. So that was, sort of the one of the thoughts or motivation behind founding Smarton. Sort of its vision was to really build India-based global OEM and IoT brand. So any product we are building or products we have built, we always try to make them, be able to sell both in India and outside. For instance, our e-bikes, we export them to Africa, Middle East, even to North Americas, right? So I think that is something, it sort of goes with the DNA from day one. What you want to do as a company, as a vision. So the last 5 years, that is sort of our journey so far. We have essentially invested a lot of capital in developing various products really driven by sort of R&D. So we've developed a very wide range of hardware devices, from smartphones, laptops, e-bikes, smart home devices, wearable bands, all this connected to our own software IoT platform called Tronics. All this required hundreds of people, a lot of risk capital, not knowing, whether these products would work. You are making mistakes as a young startup. But looking back, we have created a lot of assets. Now it gives us, over the next 5 years, the opportunity to monetize and build on these various foundational products that we have developed. And then, part of this, we work with various manufacturing partners. Some of it, we manufacture ourselves. But our focus is more design, engineering, brand building, marketing, customer care, just the whole, 360-degree customer experience. So that's where we think is the value for us. So currently, we're really focused on smart home, where we believe there is a tremendous opportunity in terms of providing end-to-end solution and services in terms of energy management or safety, security, delivering educational or remote health related services. So we feel there's a strong platform. It's not just hardware, but end-to-end experience. We also are focusing on EV and energy. Part of the EV, we have several two-wheeler e-bikes targeted at rideshare and logistics and delivery companies. We're also starting to ship battery packs, battery cells, combined with the battery management systems and some of the IoT connectivity, as we have sort of the Qualcomm's 4G, 5G license. We are probably the only company with Google Chrome OS license. All this allows us our relationships with Intel, Samsung, all that helps us to build some of these products with a really good control on the supply chain. For instance, 3 years ago, we were manufacturing the entire bike in China, even though it's our design. But today, 90% of the bike getting manufactured in India itself. We are able to get the Indian manufacturing ecosystem to be able to support us. So I think, with that, we have the platform control, we have the software control, we have the hardware control, right? So that is the idea, is to really give end-to-end solution. And the third area of focus is really leveraging our Tronics IoT platform and really deliver end-to-end B2B services for various applications. It could be agri-tech or edutech or health, in terms of delivering customized platform manufacturing and engineering as a service. So over the next 5 years, sort of we feel, the journey sort of continues where we really want to monetize various products and technologies and capabilities that we have developed, leveraging a lot of the cutting edge technology waves such as robotics, IoT, AI, and 5G. The plan is to really deploy, $200 million, grow the team, and really go after millions of customers from the current 100,000 or so customers that we have, and hit the $1 billion revenue. We're not too much worried about the valuations and whatnot. So we think the market takes care of itself. The idea we have is, and our focus is to build a product platform and ecosystem around our technologies and our platform. And again, our focus is not just hardware. We are trying to differentiate through end-to-end solution. I think that is the way we think we can differentiate and compete with some of the companies that come from China or elsewhere, dumping just the hardware. And we are also looking and planning and preparing to launch some of the products in the US. Again, thanks to the recent sort of the geopolitical dynamic and the global supply chain realignments and alignments, I think, giving a tremendous opportunities on the sort of the Indo-US corridor, where a lot of the companies in the US are looking alternatives to China in terms of product development and manufacturing. I think that lends tremendous opportunity for Indian companies. So we are looking at this opportunity, building on some of the exports we have already done. As I mentioned, we've been pushing and exporting products to US, UK, or Kenya, Ethiopia, Bhutan, and Mexico and whatnot. Some of our products are already being shipped. So I think these are all opportunities. It's not just for Smartron. We feel there is an opportunity for multiple OEM and product brands can come out of India, not just for India, but for the world as well. Of course, there are always going to be challenges, and definitely the situation, the momentum is much better than 5 years ago when we started. But challenges are always there. I think the number one challenge I think we should continue to address is the the investment infrastructure, the investment ecosystem to support the kind of startup ecosystem that we have, 5,000 to 10,000 startups. Our venture capital ecosystem should be able to pump in 15 to 20 billion a year if we really want to build 10, 15 big global brands 10 years out. I think this is one big challenge for Indian startups, especially hardware, where you require a lot of capital compared to, let's say, China or Israel or US. The capital there is abundant for hardware startups. Another area where we have made significant progress over the last 5-6 years on the innovation culture, innovation infrastructure. Obviously, I think the entrepreneurship, people wanting to work in startups, all that I think is moving in all the right direction. That said, I think we can definitely look at improving some of the regulations and compliance overheads and labor laws, taxation. Some of these things can be simplified to give more support to startups. And so especially the tax breaks, we've got to find a way to create a level playing field with the companies coming from China. We don't know the kind of capital, how they're getting access to that kind of capital at a very low cost to no cost. So I think we need to find a way to support Indian companies and create a level playing field. And then I think the product development ecosystem. It's so easy to build today a hardware product in China, right? Because the whole ecosystem is available. There are companies do different things. I think we are still at a very early stages in terms of having homegrown capabilities, from A to Z. So I think that again, the next 5-10 years, I'm sure it improves. But these are the sort of 2-3 challenges that we have. We have to overcome the investment, the innovation culture, and the product infrastructure in terms of having the whole ecosystem. I think nothing is impossible. I think with strong conviction, good teams, good vision, continue to fight and build. Not easy to build a brand, especially product-driven brand, but we are trying. I'm sure there are going to be many more companies trying to do the same. I think it's a good time to build. I think it's a high time to build India-based global brands. With that, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for listening. Appreciate your time. Thank you.